Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Touch Taste Thursday. It is episode 8 and we are live. We are live with Touch Taste Thursday. Welcome everyone to another week. We made it. We made it. It's another week. Oh my gosh. Like this week has been at least 8 weeks long. Welcome everyone. I hope you guys have been having an amazing week. I hope everything has been great. You guys have been safe. Make sure you register to vote. Make sure you have still done your due diligence to check your registration. Make sure you're still active on these people rolls so that you can get out there and vote. Because election is coming up. I think we have less than not even 30 days at this point. So make sure you do that part. In addition to that, make sure you are also marking your calendars for season 5 of Touch Taste Thursday, which is going to kick off in January. My guest tonight is Mr. Sebastian Fort. He goes by the name Seabass, the comedian. I'm excited about this gentleman. It was actually a recommendation from one of my viewers to reach out to him. He is here in the Baton Rouge area. And so I just want to know a little bit about him, kind of see what he has going on and see how he is impacting the comedy community for Baton Rouge. So I'm just glad to meet him, glad to be a part of the service one more time. So shouts out to everyone that's joining. Thank you for tuning in. Kels, thank you for tuning in. DK, we have Miss Macy Morrison, Mr. Hubbard. Thank you guys for tuning in and catching us. I am so excited. I don't really have any more announcements right now other than making sure you are registered to vote. Aside from that, just make sure that you are planning next week. If you're in the Baton Rouge area, you know that next week is going to be crazy. It is homecoming for the Southern University Jaguars as well as the LSU Tigers. And so Baton Rouge is going to be jam-packed from start to finish. So make sure you're making your plans for the city, your routes, whichever way you're going. And if you are out partying, make sure you are being safe. Have a designated driver. Take an Uber, a Lyft. Call a friend, phone a friend. Do what you need to do so you're not in these people's streets riding dirty. All right. So, welcome, Dawn. Thanks, Kels, for the love. SU all the way. Fat Kids Club, class of 2000. What? Like, how the phone just ring in the middle of the live? Like, it's clear. Y'all do not disturb. That's awkward. So, yeah. That's weird. I don't even know how they were able to get through. But nonetheless, here we are. So, with that being said, we are going to send an invite to our guest for tonight. And we're going to get in. So if you guys have any thing you would like to share, make sure you're sharing it. Make sure you let me know what's going on. Make sure you're keeping me up to date on stuff that's going on in the city. Yeah, Kelly, I don't know what that's about. That's weird. Like, phone just start ringing. Like, they must not know that it's our guest for the night on in sent him an invite. And so we are going to get started as soon as he comes in. This is going to be great. So we're going to welcome him to Touch Taste Thursday, and we're going to get started right now.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm
good,
well.
good,
How
good.
Are you?
Just, out and about in the city. And I just knew I had to get somewhere for some light so I could be seen. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, awesome. And I appreciate you for joining and being a part of the JeanEllen.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Thank you for even thinking of me and reaching out, and glad everything went good with the team and all that good stuff. So I'm literally at the River Room because I was downtown and just coming off the radio show taping. And so I was like, where can I go real quick? Couldn't get to my office. So I'm here. So That's showbiz, though. You got to make it happen, right? So,
Yes, 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 yes. All right. Well, let's just go ahead and get started. We have you now, so we are ready. So tell us a little bit about you. Your name is Sebastian, and we want to
oh
know,
my
who
God.
is Sebastian?
I tell you who he isn't. He isn't Seabass the comedian. Sebastian is obviously my legal name, my government name, which I do obviously love and dear. But I'm a country boy, and one of the sayings growing up in one of these old school movies called Dumb and Dumber, it's like an old school comedy, where there's this guy named
Uh-huh.
Seabass, and they say, kick his ass, Seabass, and Seabass ended up getting his ass kicked, but my friends love that name. So from high school through now, that nickname kind of was with me. So I turned into a kind of
Okay.
like an alter ego, I would say, like some years ago when I moved to LA. Because when I was in Los Angeles, I was performing a lot out
Okay.
there. And there was another comedian named Sebastian Maniscalco, who is a well-known comedian.
Yes.
So me and him kind of was bumping heads a little bit because some nights my name would be on the marquee at the Laugh Factory, the Hollywood Improv, and sometimes his name would be up there, so people didn't know who was what and who was who. So I said, I'm gonna go ahead and switch it up to Seabass.
Right.
So that's for my nickname, but my stage name rather. But just to give you a background, I'm a country boy. I'm from Louisiana. How you doing? I'm from Louisiana. I moved out here, moved down here rather, almost about 20 years ago. And I never knew I would be in a comedy, but I ended up getting into it. I ended up it becoming like I guess more like a lifelong kind of dream. And I've been able to kind of manifest that into some positive stuff, some good stuff. And it's allowed me to travel quite a bit. Mm-hmm. But Baton Rouge is home. I love being here. It's always my second home. So I started my comedy career. So, and I've tried to leave Baton Rouge a few times, but the Lord said, you got to be here. And I've tried so many times. I've tried to move to LA. I tried to move to Cleveland. Don't ask me about Cleveland, though. That's the forgotten years. Jesus don't talk about all his years. There were some years that was missing. He talked about all the years. But I'm back here, and, I love it, so.
Awesome. So being a comedian, were you always the funny kid in class, or it just kind of happened, or like, how did you get into the comedy space?
No, I was not that kid. I was actually kind of quiet. Believing that I was the so-called kind of like nerd in school. My mom taught high school, but I played sports, but I also graduated co-valedictorian. So a lot of people don't know that about me. Like, yeah, I used to be smart, before. But yeah, I used to be somebody before. But anyway, but no, I never thought I would ever do it. And I moved down to Baton Rouge. I had never witnessed the kind of flavor that Baton Rouge brings. Baton Rouge is different. I don't care where you go. Baton Rouge is its own thing. So when I moved down here, I had some friends of mine. Actually, one of my mentors, he actually had been on Comedy View a couple of times. I had no idea. Shout out to Van Chu. Had no idea he had been on Comedy View. And I was kind of just started hanging with them a little bit. I had my degree, so I was like, I'm not going to be a comedian. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to do my job thing. And I was at this place called Convergence. And I don't know if you know about Convergence. Yeah.
Oh, Convergence.
Yeah. So we all kind of was hanging out there. We all worked together there. And we started doing these shows around town, the Lincoln Theater, and just like, other places around town back when 2002-ish. So this is years ago, 20 years ago. And I started writing. I started being a part of some stage plays and some skits. Even before, I know skits are now on social media. Who was doing it where there was on nothing? She said, unfortunately, I do know Convergence.
Right.
So we had literally about 500 people coming to our shows every Friday or every Saturday when we did them. And that my characters kind of got popular, and people was like, oh, yeah, let's, come do comedy. And I thought that doing funny characters was being a comedian. But I quickly found out that it's a lot more to making people laugh on a stand-up version than just being a character. So I kind of took on the challenge, and that's how it kind of fell into me. Like doing comedy, I kind of hated it at first. I felt really bad at first, but I just kind of kept doing it, and I kind of had this love-hate thing for it for a while, and now it's all love. so yeah, but I started right here in Baton Rouge, 2002, around that time. So yeah.
So with the move to comedy, you did the move to Hollywood. Like most people that like, I'm gonna make it big, they go to New York or Hollywood. So you left, you went to Hollywood, and you've had success in the comedy industry there, but you also hit like a lot of well-known comedians and popular of the actor / comedians such as Dave Chappelle, Kevin Hart, and Tony Baker. How was that experience?
Honestly, when you're out there in it, you're just kind of getting it. Because when I moved out there, I had no family, I had no friends. I actually got discovered performing in Cleveland by Steve Harvey's manager. You know, Steve Harvey from Cleveland. And he was pretty much like, hey, I got a couple things for you out in LA. You should go. And it was at the perfect time where I was looking to make a big move, and I was ready to do it. So I did it. I jumped out on faith, and literally I got there and I froze up. I was terrified because this is like the Mecca. This is LA. This is Hollywood. I'm a little country boy from Tallulah, Louisiana. Very small, like 1-2 red lights. We got a Popeyes now, I think. So it was like, you know, it was scary for me, but I just jumped in. I started performing. So in LA, when some of these shows that you're doing at some of these major comedy clubs, sometimes you do these shows and there might be 20 comics on one show. It's literally like just popping it out. So a lot of times you'll have these opportunities where you'll start performing with some of these known comedians. They'll do a drop-in, they'll do a show, and next thing you know, you're like, oh, so I'm the first time I said, okay, you're going to go up right after Kevin Hart. And I was like, like, I'm going to do what, you know? And I'm going to go where? And when he finished, Kevin Hart finished, you know? And but this was like years ago, but he was still known. He wasn't as big as he is now, but he was still very big. So you started getting these opportunities, these drop-ins. And Tony Baker, he was one of those guys that at the time I was out there, we were both just kind of trying to make it. And we would see each other almost every night. Like, you know, what's up at the comedy club? You know, either I was on his show, he was on my show. We were doing stuff, and he is so funny. But so you get a chance to work with so many different like known artists because you're out there in the middle of it. So it's just a great experience. I got tons of stories that I'm going to be releasing on my Patreon probably next year, just of all sorts of like Hollywood pandemic. I got a story with Charlie Murphy. I got stories with so many different comedians and so many different instances and things like that. So I'm going to start sharing some of those things probably early next year. Is kind of what I'm working on. So
what was the moment you knew that comedy is what you wanted to do, bringing laughter and jokes and life to people? What was that pivotal moment that you said, this is it?
That's a great question. I haven't had to ask in a while, which I appreciate you doing it with the tough ones. But, you know, comedy for me, again, it was always this love-hate thing. It was always kind of like, yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, I like to do it. Yeah, I feel like I'm good at it. But it wasn't until my mom passed away. I went for a whole year without performing comedy. I was done with it. I didn't want to do it. I was over it, and I had a vision. She visited me in a dream. My mom was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't want to do it. She said, but I want you to do it. She was like, this is what you love. This is who you are. I've always taught you these things. And it was a very vivid situation that happened to me that most situations like that don't happen to me. Like all the stuff he was talking about, I saw a vision that never happened to me. I don't be seeing nothing. I just sleep and wake up. Like I don't see nothing. I don't see nothing at all. But this particular time, it was like a series of over a couple of weeks. I was going through a very tough relationship deal and all kind of stuff happened. You know how it is, like when it rains, it pours, everything happens at once. You're like, wait a minute, I got the light bill, I got this, I got that, I got babies crying. You know, it's like so much happens at one time. And comedy really rescued me. And I said, this is what I love. So I got so focused on it, and I just turned that switch, and I haven't turned it off since. And this has been since like 2015 when all this kind of happened with my mom passing and the whole transition of stuff. So now it's like, it's what I do. And now I've been able to carve out a living for myself, which is not easy to do, especially in Baton Rouge. But there's multiple ways where I keep myself busy. I have a great support team, and we're just growing. We're pushing. Everyone wants to help. Everyone wants to be involved. And then Baton Rouge is starting to become a lot more open to comedy, which is great. I'm loving that. I'm trying to help push that narrative forward to let people know, hey, there's comedy here. Or I can enjoy comedy. Yes, we know the bands and we know all this other stuff, but like, I enjoy some comedy, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I do what I do, to try to push that forward.
Yes, I saw recently in 225 magazine, you and your friends were listed as, one of the newcomers of comedy, like the new era of comedy in Baton Rouge. And so we do have quite a few comedy venues that are popping up or they're opening up, and we're trying to shift that from, like you said, the music scene to adding more comedy. And so what do you think is needed to really kind of get that to the forefront?
Just what we did, what we was able to do, thank God. Shout out to 65 Magazine and E-Media, GC, and a couple of others have reached out, which is great. Louisiana Weekend, WFB. It's kind of being able to let the people know that we're here. This new era is here. Seabass and Friends is coming at you. And then also what's really going to help that is putting out a good product for the people. A lot of comedians have performed, they do their thing, not knocking anybody, but you as a comedian, you're not really a comedian until you have that comedy special, until people can watch you at home. So be on the lookout for that to all your listeners, all your people. I'm probably going to drop it next month. Sometimes we just did a taping in New Orleans, Comedy House in New Orleans. And the reason why I went to New Orleans to do it is because New Orleans has an actual real comedy club kind of feel. No offense to venues that are here. No offense to, the comedy club that is here. But they kind of get it, and it kind of gives more of that full-on comedy club feel. When people go to a comedy show, there's certain elements that help people laugh better, help them feel the show better. You know how it is. Like when you go into a club and the lights are all bright, you know what I'm saying? You want to get out of there. You know what I mean? Like you don't want people can see all your nostrils. You want it to be kind of intimate a little bit, and where you can hear the jokes and enjoy the show, and the spotlight is on the comedian, where it should be. If the spotlight is on the comedian, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to keep grown folk attention. So I just think things like that, and people supporting the special when it comes out, people like you reaching out, that's going to help people know about like comedy in Baton Rouge. And there's a specific way that Seabass myself likes to bring the comedy. No offense to anybody else, but there's a certain way. I just want to respect people's dollar. I want to respect their, I know you busy. I know you busy. So if you come to a show and the show's at 8 o'clock, I don't want it to start at 9:30. You know what I mean? And I don't want to be over there at 1 in the morning. People be sleeping like, I'm tired. I got to get up to church in the morning. So we try, if it's 8 to 10, we're going to keep it 8 to 10 and still let you have a good night. So that's some of the things we're adding. We're also going to start doing more stuff with bands. I even hosted several things with some bands around town, from Intune to the Voyage Band. So people love bands, so they'll come to, I'm coming to see the band, girl. But then all of a sudden, they see me come up there with this comedy, and they're like, oh, wow. So we're doing more things like that, which is kind of getting to the people. And I appreciate the band for letting me, come on their spot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about sketch comedy. you know, sketch comedy, think about like In Living Color, Saturday Night Live, Mad TV, you know, some of those. So how is sketch comedy in 2022? How are you making it relevant
wow, that
and
is. Oh,
funny?
you have done your research, young lady. I don't know. You acting up tonight. So I guess it is close to the weekend, but well, the thing about sketch comedy is, wow, sketch comedy is the reason why I even fell in love with comedy in the first place. From old school
Mm-hmm.
shows like you know, Robert Townsend, Keen Ivory Wayans, they had a show called Hollywood Shuffle even before
Yes.
the Def Jam, even before In Living
Mm-hmm.
Color. And actually, Living Color kind of derived from all of that happened with Hollywood Shuffle on HBO.
Yes.
So I've been a student of that. I kind of actually look to guys like Robert Townsend and Byron Allen and these guys who kind of produce their own way. That's why I'm full 100% independent. I've seen kind of Hollywood does it. And so for me now, for sketches, I don't do them as much because I feel like you have to have a body of work when you do sketches. If you do see me do sketches, like I did a promo for the comedy special, which did real big numbers on social media, huge numbers. And if y'all haven't seen it, go to my page, check it out. I got it pinned at the top. It's a very, very funny sketch because I had people that were kind of like coming at me a little bit, like, oh, you don't do sketches. And I'm like, well, actually, I do a ton. I have a ton of sketches on funnyandie.com. I have a ton of sketches on my website. If you just Google my name, I probably have over 100 sketches that I've done throughout my career. But now I know that people on TikTok and Instagram, and that's all they do. But I just do my stuff with meaning, with structure, because you do these sketches, and I guarantee you go to the hottest sketcher right now. He's so funny. Go back a year or two. They're not even been around. And go forward, they won't be around. So it's not really longevity, but you're giving the masses all your talent. You're giving it all away. And I just don't believe in that. Unless it's sponsored, then you get something out of me. But it's got to be something that leads to bigger bodies of work for me at this point in my career. The days of me running around doing sketches like this in parks and stuff, that was like early YouTube days. We're talking like, you know, years and years and eons ago. So I love what they're doing now with those mediums, but I don't believe in giving TikTok and Instagram all my power. I may give you a snippet, and then you can come over here to my website and watch the rest of it because it's of value. And a lot of these guys are filming sketches, just to bring this point home, they don't really have a plan for it. It's just when black folks do this, or when hood dudes do this, or when a girl do this, or when a guy does this. That's cool, but thank you for the laugh for that moment. But I want the production I'm a part of to kind of be a little more and kind of have a story it tells and kind of goes into where this is episode 1. You know what I mean? This is that. Yes. And that's my television production background that kind of kicks in. But that's how I feel about sketch comedy. So we are talking about doing a sketch comedy line because everyone enjoyed the sketch that we just did with shout out to Main Lobby Downtown, shout out to Narsville, shout out to Go Ride. I try to put in all the black business owners downtown into the sketch, and we were able to do each part, which kind of highlighted them, but it also we was doing too. And I dare anybody in this city to top that sketch. So that's a good sketch. Yeah.
It was good. You did a great job.
We care about our work, you know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Yes. So let's take a moment. Let's welcome everyone that are joining us tonight. Welcome to Touch Taste Thursday. My name is Rebecca Brumfield. I am the curator and owner of the JeanEllen Home and Lifestyle Collection. This is Touch Taste Thursday, episode 8, season 4, episode 8. So I've been doing this for a little bit, but I'd like to welcome you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for tuning in as well. Make sure you are following me if you are new to my Instagram, and make sure you are following my guest tonight, Mr. Seabass. That way you can stay connected to everything that he has going on with comedy, TV, radio, and which we're going to get into next. We're going to talk a little bit more about his career with film, being an actor, producer, a writer, and then we're going to go into the radio portion. So thank you guys for tuning in, and we're going to jump right back into the conversation
I'm not homeless as of yet. I know it looks kind of bad, but I have a home, thank God. I was downtown and I need to run in to do this. So I'm at the River Room. They have a back patio. Actually, if you ever been to the River Room, it's a real quick shout out. It's a very nice vibed out kind of deal. If you want to bring a cigar, a hookah, or something, come out here and you can kind of enjoy, nice air. So plug for them. But I'm not homeless yet. I paid my rent the other day. I'm doing good. Yeah.
Come on, Rick. Let's talk about you with being an actor, a producer, a writer. When I went to your page on IMDb, you had a lot of credits. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah.
What is going on?
Well, first of all, kudos to you for even knowing what IMDb is. And that's no offense to anybody. There really isn't. It's just a lot of people don't know about what IMDb is. They don't understand a lot of the importance of it. It's been so pivotal in my career because it's like validation, if that's a thing still, right? Like, to be validated as an actual actor is something I take a lot of pride in. It's something that I've always worked at. And, again, I love doing comedy pieces, or we just did a film. I just did a film that's going to be in the Los Angeles Film Festival and they're trying to get it to Cannes and Sundance, but this past weekend, my producer, brother of mine, he's worked on Ballers and Shooter TV shows and some movies. Romarius Lamont, that is my guy. He was down. We filmed a great film. He allowed me to have a guest role in it, and my daughter was an actual star. So shout out to my daughter Savannah. I taught her a lot with acting, and I'm gonna start. She's 14, and next year as well, I'm going to start teaching some comedy classes, acting, and improv classes as well, for one class for adults and one class for children. And it's free. It's going to be free, which is going to be great, for the pocket. So that'll be coming soon, too. But yeah, so I love it. And, of course, being in L.A., acting, I kind of figured out the producer hat because there are some projects that would have never gotten off the ground if I wouldn't have went in, found the money for it, I was able to get those things done. So being a producer is not easy, but I like putting the different pieces together to make a production happen, which is really, really fun. Yeah. So, but thank you for checking it out, because a lot of folks don't be knowing about. I'm on IMDb and I'm somebody. They be like, okay, whatever. Like, all right.
So how do you feel about I call them Facebook comedians. Like, they put up a meme or a post and it's hilarious. They get a whole bunch of likes and shares. And then they're like, oh, I want to do a podcast. Oh, I want to do a live. I want to jump into comedy. Like, how do you feel about those people?
Girl, okay, so I was on a podcast about a month ago and I called some issues out of here in these BR streets. So, I was like, well, I didn't know y'all even was watching that. They was jumping in, they was chiming, and I said, y'all should put that energy into y'all career, y'all. Anyway, so this is what I'll say to that. First and foremost, I feel like reality TV and social media has messed up a lot for someone like myself. I'm sorry to say it. Call me a hater if you want. Yes. It is what it is. I hate it. But for the Instagram or the social media or the Facebook comedian, I don't feel... I'm happy that they have that medium to use, but learn what you're doing, study what you're doing, have a plan, reach out to mentors, reach out to folks who have done it before, and just kind of see how you want to enter it, because there might be some opportunities where you can be a co-host. There might be some opportunities where you can actually be a writer. There might be some opportunities where you can actually learn all sides of it. And then you can make a choice on what you want to do, because the majority of them who do it, they don't last long. A lot of them, and this is what I'll say to that. I'll tell you a story. Have you ever heard of the Comedy Store in LA? So the Comedy Store is a world-class comedy club. I've been blessed to have performed there a lot of times in all rooms: belly room, original room, main room. There are 3 rooms in that comedy place, and it's ran by comedians. But it's basically the comedian hangout. It's like Switzerland for comedians. So no matter if you my guests, or if you're me, or if you're somebody else, it doesn't matter. You're a comedian. We're all cool. We're all here. And in having this comedy store vibe going on, I was standing in a hall one time with some named comics. I won't say who, but it was some named comics. Well, I'll give you one. Tony Rock was there. Tony Rock, it was myself, a couple other comedians. We were just kind of talking. And the only reason why I was there with those guys is because I knew one of the vet comics that had been in LA for years. And so they let me kind of stand by him, I guess. So I was kind of standing there for a second and soaking it all in and just having a good time getting ready for my show. And they started asking every comedian that walked through the hallway, hey, how long you been doing comedy? How long you been doing comedy? And if that comedian said less than 3 years, they laughed. And I didn't catch on at first because I'm country boy. I don't know. I'm just, I'm getting ready for my show. I'm just out here. I'm out here. Right. But they started laughing. Why y'all laugh? They say, well, if you have not done this for 3 years consecutively, then they didn't really respect you at that moment. They didn't really, because they felt like you didn't really pay your dues yet. And that's sometimes how I feel about some of the comedians that are out here that are doing some things like that. Again, the last thing I'll say to that question is that if you're going to do it that way, don't make Facebook and Instagram everything. Get you a website, get you a Patreon, get you some subscriptions going, get you some merchandise. But you gotta know when that's time to do that. You got to kind of work up to a particular point to when you can be able to say, hey, I'm doing a comedy show and I want you to pay $20 a ticket, inflation, $27.50 a ticket to come see a show. Right. And these guys will do that, but what's your accolades? What have you done? They'll say, oh, well, I graduated from Struma. Well, that's cool. Congratulations. But as far as comedy and making people laugh, are you really qualified for that? That's something that you feel like you can do. And so a lot of them learn they can't, and a lot of them make it rougher for comedians like myself in the marketplace because they went to a show and they're gonna loop us all in the same little loop, and they're gonna say, you know what? I spent my money, I wasted my time, I ain't never going again, forget comedy, and I'm back to the bands. So that's why I cringe when I see it. But that's why we're doing projects. That's why we're doing products. That's why the radio show. All these things are kind of stand apart so that people can know, like, okay, if I want real comedy, if I want real entertainment, that's when I'm gonna go. And that's kind of where a lot of beef kind of comes in. But I'd rather show you than I can tell you. And that's kind of what I've been doing, is kind of showing more so than telling. I was telling at first when I moved back from LA. I was trying to tell everybody. Hey, don't do it. But they didn't really want to listen. And that's fine. That's fine. You don't have to. So I decided to kind of continue on my own track, and I'm happy that it's going very well. So.
Good. Very good. Let's talk about something that we share in common, which is radio. How did you get into the radio space? And you're on a gospel station, 106.1. So are you a gospel or a Christian comic, or you're a clean comic, or it just depends on where you are?
I love that question. Most people down here don't really relate. They don't think that you can be a clean comic and be very funny. I'm actually both. I'm for whatever the situation requires. If you catch me at a comedy club like my special, that's going to be rated R. That's going to be TV mature. Because I got a little loose on some things.
Gotcha.
But, got a little wild. But if you see me on the radio station, I can make you laugh just as hard without cursing. And that's a challenge that I love. But it's not really a challenge anymore because I kind of know my voice. I know who I am as a comedian. So when I first started out, I had some years where I was just a Christian comedian. But now I like to say I'm a comedian that happens to be Christian. See? So, yeah. So,
that's
but
a good one.
It's one of those things to where with the gospel station, the thing about here in Baton Rouge in the market was that I knew I wanted to be on radio. I've done TV. I've done the podcast. I was doing podcasts when they weren't cool. You know what I mean? I was doing it 4 years ago when I first went into the market. I was doing it here, and I loved it, and I had a great run. And I may even bring it back. I think we just did like a season 4. We taped at the Bryan earlier this year when they were open and stuff. We had a lot of good guests. Shout out to Kelsey B, the GYMC, all my cast members and stuff that make that show a good show. But I wanted to take that next step. I wanted to go somewhere where only professionals reside. You know what I mean? I want to go somewhere to where Instagram comic just can't get up on the radio. Just being real. That was one of the reasons why I wanted to.
Right.
The radio stations here are very weird. They don't really reach out to talent, which is strange for me. They just have the same folks that's been on radio for 20-something years, and that's cool. And the folks that's been on a radio show, they never say, hey, let's add some talent to what I'm doing. They just keep their same $20,000 a year, whatever they're doing, they're comfortable. That's fine. But all I'm saying is that there's talent. There's real talent out here. And, you know, I'm kind of like old Jay-Z verse, if you don't give me heaven, I raise hell. So I knew I wanted to get on the radio. So shout out to my team for making that happen. And going over to 106.1 right now was a good fit because they have some open space that they were able to be allowed to do what I'm doing. And they gave me a really good primetime spot, which I like. Thursdays at 6 is a really good time for my show. But we're also looking at some other possibilities with it too. But I've been enjoying the radio run. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't know how I was going to like it because I kind of got to hold back. But I love it. I love it. And just to break it down to you guys, we do 30 minutes on the radio, 6:30. But then after that, if you go to my website, which is emediagc.com/Cbass, I'll do it so you can pin it. But if you go to my website, you can be able to tap the radio show link, and you can watch what we call the extended version, where it turns more into like a podcast after the radio portion. So it's pretty cool, and you get a chance to kind of hear, because we do know that everyone's not on the radio, but the radio is still a big medium. It's still pretty huge. People actually do listen more, so I wish they listened more. But one of the challenges is bringing them back to the radio a little bit, you know, and kind of making that a thing. So it's all a challenge. It's all a part of it. But so far, so good. And the Cbass and Friends radio show has been really good. So shout out to Fred Sargent for like doing so many things behind the scenes, because he edits the show. Him and his assistant edit the show. If you know business, you know entertainment, you know, because you got your show. Editing is everything, because I hate to edit. I don't like it. I want to focus on being funny. I want to focus on doing jokes. You know? So I'm glad that I got some good help around me.
Awesome. So you mentioned about getting people back to radio. You know, you have streaming services, you have XM, you have Spotify, Pandora. You know, you have all of these different ways people are listening, and they're not tuning into like the radio stations, the call stations anymore. What do you think is needed to pull people away from the streaming services?
Well, I think the beauty of having your own platform like a radio show now is that you can kind of drive the people who follow you where you want them to go. You can drive your audience where you want them to go. I look at places like Ricky Smiley show. I look at even a Russ Parr show. I like how you can take, like the day I posted a clip, I had Judge Don Johnson on, and I put a little radio sample and I posted it so people could kind of hear and go over to the radio station and say, oh, he's on there now. Or I can go to the radio website, or I can go to the, to the eMedia website, and I can kind of listen in. But also the radio stations have to do a better job. They have, and I'm just keeping it real, they have totally dropped the ball on so much connectivity. And it is so strange to me. It's like they just kind of laid down and just let social media take over. And I'm like, y'all ain't got no fight in y'all. Y'all just gonna quit. And so I find it kind of funny, because I've gone back and forth with the radio station here about some of those things, about saying, where's your visibility? Where's your presence? Do you guys care? You know, what's going on? Do y'all need some help? What's wrong? You need some milk or something? So it gets a little strange. But they got to do their part, because, again, you guys, radio controls the airwaves, but you got to get to social media, pull some of those people, and let them know that you're there. Let them know that they come listen to me and come check me out. And every now and again, I'm going to say this too, you got to show some love. You got to kind of stop for a second and see someone like yourself, what you're doing. And it's okay if you're a radio show. You can comment on somebody else's stuff. It's okay. it's not going to hurt you to comment to say, hey, I see you. You know what I mean? Because if I say I see you, then you're going to see me, and we see each other. So it's just a lot of that I feel like people don't really do. They kind of look everywhere. They're always focused on just themselves. But we do like little contests. We do fun things for the show. Quick example, Kettle Pub downtown. I do something downtown where once a month we go like on a little ride with me where we ride around and I tell jokes while we're riding. We have fun. It's like a comedy show, if you will, on wheels. And it's so fun. It's so innovative. But one of the things that we're going to do for Halloween, the last Friday of the month, is we're going to have a costume contest. And everyone get on the ride, wear your costume, except for Jeffrey Dahmer. We're not doing Jeffrey Dahmer. Not doing that one. Or Kanye, not doing him either. Kanye and Jeffrey Dahmer. We're not doing
not Kanye.
Anybody else you can do, not Jeffrey Dahmer. But you can ride around, and what we're going to do, we're going to do a costume contest, and then the person who wins, they get the next ride free. You know what I'm saying? So you got to kind of be innovative in some ways and kind of get people to know what you're doing. Right. And I think those are things that really set you apart. And I just feel like a lot of entertainment entities now aren't doing that. And we're just losing every day. We're losing the battle against the social media people, against that. Like we're just losing it. So it's always good, I feel like, to be able to just kind of say, okay, how are we going to give people some entertainment value? What are we going to do? Consistent entertainment value. So.
Absolutely. I'm going to do like my little Angela Yee. One of my friends, she's always like, Angela Yee always interjects and turns it back to herself. So I would just simply say, though, I agree with you about the whole radio piece. I'm new to the radio space. It just fell in my lap. Like, honestly, just happens. And I'm grateful for the experience and the opportunity. But I try to make it a point to say, hey, it's Rebecca with a K. Good morning, Baton Rouge, because that's where I am. And, it's like you said, just doing your part as a station, as a group, as a cast, to say, hey, we're here, and reaching out and just trying to do what's necessary to draw people in to listen. But do you find that because it's gospel radio, it's harder than if it was secular radio?
That's a great question. Right now the numbers hadn't fully come out yet to kind of compare, because I'm kind of curious because I'm on this side of it, so I don't get a chance to really kind of see kind of what's going on with the other side. I feel like that, I would like more listeners, especially younger, to come to the gospel side. And I think that's one of the reasons why I was available, because one of my co-hosts, Nay Ransom, shout out to her. She's our creative writer. She's amazing. She's dope. She's representing the LGBTQ community, and I wanted that for the show. I wanted some diversity, and I just wanted. And she's younger. She's like late 20s. I ain't gonna say what I'm early 40s, but I'm up there a little bit. And so I wanted someone that could connect with the younger. So I definitely think it doesn't matter where good entertainment is. I think as long as you got that medium, I think that, we're going to have to answer that bell of saying, hey, how do we get more folks that listen to this over here? What do we do? So for me right now, it doesn't really kind of matter right now. I think I haven't really looked at it like that, just because I've always believed in, let me tell you, so you brought up Living Color at the beginning, right? And things like that. Well, before in Living Color, did you know about Fox? You know what I mean? Before Power, did you know about Stars? So everyone kind of runs to the Netflix. Everyone runs to what's popular, but you have to think about, how did that get popular? Was it, everyone wants to kind of jump on the same wagon, but I'll go to somewhere named, let's call it Wetflix. And I would dare to go there and put because they're going to give me all the attention I need. They're going to take care of me. They're going to make sure I get the top spot. And if I can do that and make that hot, then my name will be in the Raptors forever. You know what I mean? I just won't be another basketball player that goes to Duke University. You know what I mean? I won't just be another Kyrie Irving and Zion Williamson. I'll be someone like Charles Barkley, who went to Auburn, and not many athletes have gone to Auburn and done what he's done with basketball. So I look at it like that. So that's one of the things that we're actually going to have a big meeting about very soon, because we're coming close to our first contract kind of run at the end of it. And we're going to kind of throw all that on the table and kind of look at some of those things, because I do want to see some things move forward. And I do want to, now that we know we got a good show, which the show is actually good. I'm not lying. The show is actually good. I'm like, okay, man, we can, we can keep this going. So we'll that'll be a stay tuned on that question. So, yeah.
Okay, gotcha. You mentioned Byron Allen a little while ago. A lot of people don't know that Byron Allen is like a super mega billionaire, and that he has comedy.tv and all of these other, like, why isn't he in the, I guess, like up on the billboards of time with comedy, like the Red Foxes and the Richard Pryors and the Mike Epps and the Eddie Murphys? Like, Byron Allen
that's kind of funny you say that. When I do my comedy classes, I'm going to have actually specific classes about performers of comedy, but business entities of comedy. And people don't realize when they hear comedy, they think all performance. That's all they think. And that's great, because you should, because it's comedy. But there is a very big business side to comedy. So he's not, and I've seen him do stand-up, and he's not the best stand-up, but he's a really, really, really good writer. But his business mind is the fact that he tried to get the show that he did, which is Comics Unleashed, on other networks. They wouldn't buy it. And he went and kind of got his own, but he grew up in that production TV kind of world to where he created it. So he's never probably going to ever really be talked about, unfortunately, just because he hasn't done the big special or he hasn't been in a big movie. But you're right. He is everything when it comes to business of comedy and doing it his way. I kind of almost hold him in regards to like a Tyler Perry, because I felt like he did something very similar. He just did it on the, through a character. But Byron Allen was forever. He's forever one of the people that I wouldn't even be sitting there talking to you if it wasn't for him. So. But that's a good idea he got, because most folks don't really pay attention to that. But again, it's the business side of comedy, to where people I want to get on comedy. I want to get on stage and do comedy. Well, people don't realize being a comedian, about 20% of it is performing. The rest of it is promoting, marketing, talking to the clubs, talking to your team. A lot of it is writing and testing out jokes and stuff. So by the time you get to the actual show, you be tired. People, where is it at again? And what's the direction saying? And what time? And you know what? I don't care. It's very exhausting. It's a very exhausting kind of business. But yeah, Byron Allen definitely deserves his flowers, for real, for real. So yeah.
Awesome. So before we close out, let me ask you a couple questions. And there's no wrong answers.
Because I don't do good
your questions. Top 3 comedians. Your top 3 favorite comedians.
Damon Wayans, probably my favorite, number 1 favorite comedian. Mark Curry. And it's a toss-up between Sinbad and Cosby. I know Cosby is a rough one for a lot of people now, but just take out what the recent years, go back to his actual stand-up days and his actual TV show and stuff like that. Go to wholesome Cosby, go to Jello Pudding Pops Cosby. Don't go to the other one, But those are probably my top.
So you said Mark Curry, Damon Wayans,
Cosby, but Cosby split with Sinbad.
Okay.
Cosby and Sinbad.
Cosby split with Sinbad. Okay. Do you think that women in comedy in 2022, that they've made enough stride that they are able to be as popular or more popular than some of the men, or is it still a
big fight? It's still a very big fight. I know Tiffany Haddish. I even know what she's going through right now. When we were in LA, we performed a few shows together, and she's from LA, and we've done a lot of shows in the Long Beach area and stuff like that. And so I feel like she's done some good with comedy, some great with comedy. What am I saying? Great with comedy. But there's so much more stories that need to be told from the woman's side of it. And that's why if you look at the Seabass and Friends and a part of the Billboard and all the publicity, 2 people on there are female. And I want to kind of shout out Kelsey B, because Kelsey B kind of represents, I feel like, this young, brash, new type of just comedian that's just going to say whatever come out their mouth. And it's okay if you want to say it like that. So I feel like there's a lot more left for women to really get their shine and really move up in comedy. Because you have like a Whoopi Goldberg, who I think is just phenomenal in her performing days. Then, of course, you got the Adele's and the Samoas and the Moniques and all these guys. And then you got like Ada Rodriguez. I'm cool with Ada. Ada, we've done a bunch of shows together. Amanda Seals, we've done some shows together. So I see a lot of what they're doing. Even Brisha Webb. Brisha Webb is more of a comedic actor, but I think she should be stand-up. She's so funny to me. She's just so funny. But there's a lot more that I think I would love to see a woman comedian really push the narrative forward right now, because I'm tired of seeing twerking all the time. Just so twerking. I mean, yeah, I'm not against it, but it's all I see. It's on my stand-up special, so you got to hear that bit. But I know there's so much more to offer with women, and especially, dare I say, someone like Kelsey B. She's a beautiful woman. She's a very attractive young woman. So when you come to the stage, folks like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's she gonna do? But then she comes breathing. They like, oh, she's funny. Which you can catch her and all of us, by the way, at Red Stick Social next Thursday for free. October 20th, 7 to 9 p.m. And it's early and it's free. So if you want some homecoming stuff you want to do, you can still get to the club. You know what I'm saying? But Red Stick Social, shout out to them for booking us for this night. Because, again, comedians don't get booked a lot at these places, always bands. So I'm inviting everybody to come out to Red Stick Social and check us out, and we're going to have a good time. So, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I just want to thank you again for being a part of the JeanEllen experience on Touch Taste Thursday. I mean, I love what you're doing. I love that there's a new wave of comedy coming to the city. I just think that it's amazing. And welcome to the, everything that's coming your way. Just welcome it in. It's going to happen. Like... I just already feel like I've been knowing you for like a while. And like, are you always like the funny friend? Like, are your friend groups expecting you to be the funny guy? Are they expecting you to always be the funny guy? Like to always have the joke?
But what I do a lot is I kind of retreat a lot. I'm very big on mental health. I'm very big on me kind of having, because this is a world where there's so much every day coming at us all day. Like, oh my God, I'm not ready. So for me, I'm thankful that I have a wife who does not care about any of this stuff. And it's so beautiful because she literally does not care. But I don't mean that in the fact that she doesn't love me, obviously. But it's just, she allows me to escape from just all of it, because it's so mentally taxing, creating, producing, writing, and setting up all these things. So for someone like yourself to see what I'm doing, to reach out, that's all we want. You know what I mean? So thank you so much for having a platform like this to allow someone like myself on to kind of say my piece, and I thank you.
No, absolutely, absolutely. So again, everyone that's watching, if you're watching the replay on IGTV or YouTube, make sure you are following this gentleman. You can go to his website, which is pinned here in the comments, and you can also follow him there. Instagram, Facebook, find him on YouTube. You can Google him. You can find all of the previous work. Like, everything is there. This gentleman and what he's doing for the city is amazing. And so I think, there are great things that's going to come from this. And so I'm just excited to have had him on the Touch Taste Thursday, episode 8. 50%
off sale right now for hoodies. So if you go to my site, 50% off. And if you have a problem with it, just DM me or message me I'll fix it. I think it expired yesterday, but I can read. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna redo it, and I'm gonna send it to you so you can pin it. I'm gonna so you can go to my site and you can shop half off his hoodies. So it's cold a little bit.
Half off. Get your hoodies.
We're gonna get 50 degrees, y'all. Yo, it's cold, Louisiana. 50 degrees. Get the Uggs
out. It's hoodie season.
The Uggs and
not the Uggs.
And what else, y'all? And the earmuffs. Y'all it be 58 degrees. I got earmuffs. I'll be like, that's what y'all do. So I love it.
No. No, don't do that. Make sure your Uggs are not leaning to the side and make sure they're not dirty. But nonetheless, thank you so much for joining me tonight.
All right.
All right, you as well. All right, everyone. That has been your Touch Taste Thursday for tonight. Oh my gosh, that was like really, really good. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you like, you share, you comment. Make sure you're sending it to your friends so that they can come back and watch it on IGTV. Like, you guys are the best. Thank you, guys. We still have a few more episodes of season 4 left, but season 5 is going to kick off in January. So make sure you are ready for that. It's, of course, every Thursday, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, here on the JeanEllen Home and Lifestyle Collection Instagram page, YouTube for the replay. And if you have any comments, questions, concerns, you can always go to www.JeanEllenCollection.com and place them there. And if you would like to see someone on the JeanEllen Collection Touch Taste Thursday, you can leave their information on the website as well so that they can be on the show, just like this gentleman. So with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. And our motto for the JeanEllen experience is, what's for me is for me, and what ain't is for another saint. So you guys have a great weekend. I will see you guys week after next, because next week is homecoming. So no Touch Taste Thursday next week, but you guys have a great weekend. Take care of each other and yourselves. Be safe. Make sure you go out and vote. Make sure you're registered to vote. Make sure you're registered to vote. Make sure you register to vote. It's very imperative that you do. And returning on Monday, I don't even know what Monday's date is, but on Monday, the Jamal Bates Morning Show, we will be back on Monday. This week we're on fall break, so we took a little breather, but we'll be back bright and early, 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time on the Jamal Bates Morning Show. You can find us at the Spirit Radio app, or you can go to www.thejamalbates.com to listen live. All right, so it's been Rebecca with a K, and I am out. Have a great